Good data morning to you. I am George.
And I am Diana.
And welcome on the Good Data Morning Show, or Good Data Afternoon, or Good Data Evening, wherever you are, doesn't matter. I hope it is a good data and good day. Today we want to talk to you about Microsoft Excel, which is a favorite tool and not so favorite tool for many people. And we're also going to talk about its relationship to data quality and how it's really influencing our life and, everybody's experience working with it. Hi, Nick. Good to have you here. Good morning to you. All right. So, where are you from? Let us know where you are from. Okay. So, why don't we just start with this one story, which really brought my attention, and I'll just share it with you here. Just give me 1 second. It's the first time we're kind of sharing this one. All right. So this one was shared by my colleague last week, and it really brought my attention because basically scientists had to rename human genes because of Excel. Because Excel was reformatting some of these names. I will just notify that there was no sound. I hope there is sound right now. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting us know. I appreciate it. Why don't we just, kickstart this again? Yes. I'll mention good data morning to everybody. Welcome on the Good Data Morning Show. Welcome. I am George.
And I am Diana.
And again, good morning, good data morning, good data afternoon, good data evening. Thanks again for the comments. I appreciate it. I hope that you can hear me now. Yes.
Sound.
Yay. Hey, thank you so much. I'm glad it's working. All right. Hi, Pietro. Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad that all the comments are coming in now, and thanks again for all the feedback. We've switched technologies. We are actually using a Kinect setup, believe it or not. I'll be happy to share that setup at one point if you're curious. There's a lot of wires here. We thought it would be better sound, better video, but I think something wasn't plugged in properly. So again, thank you. So what I was mentioning is that we do want to talk to you about Microsoft Excel this morning, its effect on data quality and the other way around. And I wanted to start with this story that was shared by my colleague last week, and the fact that scientists had to rename human genes in order to get rid of the fact that Excel was converting these names to dates. And this was one example that we're starting with, the membrane-associated ring that was written as March 1, and obviously Excel was seeing it as 1st of March date. And there were about 27 or so genes that had to be renamed because they followed a similar format. And there were 3,500 published papers that 1/5 of them were affected by these Excel errors. And obviously there's a lot of consequences. A lot of the times that scientists would scrape this, would save it as a CSV without formatting to not run into this issue, but then the other scientists would not be aware of it. And obviously a lot of manpower would go into this in order to correct this over and over again, which is not desirable. So what did scientists thought of? Well, you know what? Let's just start renaming the genes already because we can't really fight with Excel. So this is really one example on how the let's say a business need is actually being influenced. The requirements are being influenced by the technology and not the other way around, like how we're usually hoping things would be. And I was asking Diana, what is your experience with Excel? I know you have used it quite a bit in your consulting years, and I was wondering from everybody as well, let's put in a question right here. How often do you use Excel right now? And so how often were you using Excel?
Absolutely every day. And we had very, very important information in Excel. We were password protecting the documents because it was we were dealing with very sensitive information as well. but I find that it's very, very hard to find errors in Excel. And by doing research for this particular Good Data Morning show, I realized that actually a lot of people think that this is a downside of Excel or a limitation of Excel, that it's very, very hard to track errors. And yeah, this is why, just as the article says, that you get into errors, and then other users use the same document, and then they cannot track those errors. And to this point, I also wanted to say that given that Excel is so widespread and people use it so much, it is very interesting that it wasn't Excel who had to change these things, but rather the scientist had to change the name of the genes. I find this fascinating. So this means that Excel has such a leverage nowadays that it doesn't have to change its ways in order for genes to be
we basically had to rename our own genes in order to comply with the Excel requirements there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree. Yeah, so let us know, how often are you using Excel? I think it's really used on a daily basis by so many people working in data analytics, data science, in all data management professions. And not only, but it is used by management in general, by office workers in general. I think really it's one of those go-to tools that people defer to. And it is a good tool, don't get me wrong, but it also has quite a few deficiencies. And I think you know quite a few of them. But yeah.
So I wanted, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty busy using every day. And I think I do too. I think more often than I would like to, I am deferring to Excel to interact with certain data to get some meaning out of that data. Though, things like other data visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, Click, what have you, they're definitely better suited for things like that. But we do defer to Excel quite often because of its versatility and ease of use.
Yeah. To that point, and to Excel's leverage, I think right now students learn how to use Excel in school, right? So I think in some areas you get in touch with Excel in high school already. And then at university, depending on what you're studying, I do think that you come in contact with Excel, which already says a lot of how widespread it is. And I'm just wondering, I've been using Excel for a very long time, but do you find it intuitive? Do you find that it's easy to learn Excel?
That's a good question, and feel free to answer. Now, I wonder if anybody has just started to come into contact with Excel. I mean, we've used it for years. Like Diana said, since we were in school, for the most part, it's one of those must-haves.
Exactly.
And I remember before, I think, back in the 90s, when you were looking at a job requirement, they had to list, hey, you need to know how to send out an email. You need to know Microsoft Word or some sort of a word processor. You need to know Excel. Right now, I don't think it's really being listed as one of those requirements because it's sort of a default state. You should know Excel, at least the basic. If anything, they would probably mention that we need some sort of advanced Excel skills, but
yes, the basic are expected.
I think so.
Absolutely. When I was in my consulting years, right at the beginning, I was very, very lucky that one of my colleagues taught me almost everything that I know in Excel. I remember it was very late at night, like in the consulting years. I think it was 10 p.m. Nobody was in the office. And he found the time and the patience to teach me how to work with Excel. What I find now is that even if I do not know a function, intuitively I know that Excel should be able to do it, and then I look for that function. So from that perspective, I find it is intuitive. I find that right now at the level that I have of experience, that I can say, okay, Excel, although I don't know how to do it now, I know that Excel should be able to do this function. And this is something that I really like about Excel. That being said, and Pradeep has a very interesting comment, something that we wanted to talk about. What about the alternatives? So I have no idea of other, or I have never used alternatives or something else to do what Excel does. And because I haven't, I also looked at some alternatives to Excel in preparation for this good data morning. And I found top 5 ones in an article by Brandon Villaroro, and the top one is Google Sheets. And I was wondering if anyone, I just started learning Google Sheets. Great.
Yeah, so Kingsley here just started to use Google Sheets, like you're mentioning, it's the first one on your list, and he started to use it with and learn it with Data Camp. So
so in the article they said that it doesn't have the more advanced features of Excel, but it's cloud-based, which allows real-time collaboration, which I'm not sure how important this is, but depending on the business, depending on the project, it might be something very useful. And then in response, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I think Microsoft is trying to catch up on that by implementing the Microsoft the Office 365 in order to allow that cloud collaboration.
Yes, exactly, and that was the second one on the list. And I think again the advanced.
Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Joseph. From the advanced features point of view, the Excel, the online option, doesn't have the advanced features. It only has them in read mode, so read only mode.
Joseph, if you don't mind, if you can let us know, do you think a lot of people are using Excel for data quality purposes? I'll be quite interested to find out of how widely it is used. I am under the impression that it's one of the go-to tools that people defer to, at least when they do that initial analysis of that data, or really just trying to peek into the data, and then they probably start using those more specialized tools in order to cleanse that data, of course. But just wondering, what do you know of it? Sorry to interrupt, Diana.
Yeah, so while listeners are still answering some questions, so the third one after Excel Online was Apache or Apache. How did you say
Apache.
It? Are you sure that that's how you read it?
How do you pronounce it? Apache, Apache?
I like Apache. I'll say Apache. Open Office Calc, which for some people it has a better look and feel than the other ones. It's free. It has the main features, but it's not cloud-based. I was very surprised because I haven't heard of it at all, and I'm just wondering how many people use it, or how many organizations. I have 2 more, and then I'll be done with this. LibreOffice Calc, it's free. It's not cloud-based, but apparently it has some awesome features that Excel doesn't have. LibreOffice, Pradeep already knew about it. And then WPS Office Spreadsheets, it has a fully featured free version, but it has ads. And apparently the ads are not longer than 10 seconds, but still they do interrupt your work.
I wonder what the ads are about. I wonder if they're Microsoft ads.
They're Suites ads.
Right. So Pradeep was mentioning that it's Apache.
Okay.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay.
All right.
You guys know better.
Yes. And I wonder, I'm trying to remember, I think I've learned something in high school, which was open source probably, or I'm trying to remember what it was. Anyways, it will come back to me while I sip from my coffee. And this is one of my favorite mugs, by the way, because I'm quite passionate about filming, editing, things like that. So this is sort of reflecting one of that. It's one of my 3 favorite mugs. The third one is still on the way. We'll probably do an unboxing or something because I'm very, very excited about it. But anyways, I think we are digressing here. Yes, we are off topic.
That happens a lot. All right, so when it comes to, I have never considered of using something other than Excel. I was never in the position to be asked to learn something else. I was looking at some job applications, and now some companies require Google Sheets. And to my mind, if you know Excel, you should be able to work with Google Sheets. I mean, I think it needs a little bit of getting used to, but if you know Google Sheets, then you're fine.
And Vivian agrees that both Excel and Google Sheets are really great tools. Exactly, with proper usage, definitely.
Nice.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please do. Okay, so when it comes to the disadvantages of Excel, what I have experienced is the fact that it can become very slow. So especially if you have large amounts of data, it can become very slow, and then you lose track and errors can appear, and there is no way of proving those errors.
Well, yeah, and there's a high chance of getting that file corrupted and losing your data and all your work. So a lot of the times what people do, instead of moving to another tool, they just get a more powerful computer, or they hype up their own laptop, computer machine, whatever it is. And it is, again, speaks, I think, of the power that Excel has and how many people are using it. I wanted just to go back to Joseph's, because we did ask him from his experience, what was that usage of Excel through the data quality profession, and he was mentioning that their research shows that Excel is still the dominant tool, and I'm not surprised that it is, based on all our discussions and interaction that we're having with you here.
Yeah. And one other, let's see, yeah, go ahead. Excel breaks 1 million records. Wow.
Yeah. I never tested with 1 million, but I don't doubt that you are right, Mark. Excel does break with 1 million records. It's quite a lot of records. So I think for the average user, this is more than enough, but absolutely not for, let's say, maybe the data analyst, the data management professional. Sorry.
And one last downside or limitation that I wanted to talk about, and that I saw in many articles, are the charts or the visuals that Excel offers. And I didn't have to use them as much, and I wanted to ask how you data experts feel about that. Do you use something else for visualization? Do you use Excel?
Let me just sorry, I'm trying to also pay attention to some of the comments here.
Right.
And Joseph was recommended to look into the Open Refine from Google for data cleansing and organizing. It's excellent and free, so thank you for that recommendation. I haven't heard about it, but I'm going to look into it this afternoon after my work is done. I'm very excited to find out more about it. Sounds like it does have quite a lot of potential. So, all right, thank you. And I think some of these comments are really coming slow to us for some reason. So I just wanted to address some. So Vivian was mentioning that Excel and Google are a great tool with proper usage, and you are completely right. And Pradeep does agree. And nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much for joining here on this morning or this evening. And I hope to see you again next week. Sometimes I think we will push it to Tuesday morning, a lot earlier. Maybe something that would work better for a lot more other people that have expressed interest in joining the show. But anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll post it on LinkedIn. We'll advertise it. We'll mention it there. But thank you, everybody, for joining. Now, let's go back to some of these questions. Akashdeep was asking about what's your point of view on fixing curating the data, if it should be part of the data governance program or just need to report the issues as part of the data governance program. That's a very good question. I think it really depends on that operating model. I think it definitely needs to be reported initially. It needs to be flagged somewhere, just because it also creates that communication, that awareness, and not somebody just going behind the scenes and always correcting that data. Obviously, it needs to be done in a more comprehensive way, and it needs to be cleansed at the source whenever it needs to, or whenever it can happen, if you do have access to that source system. And you need to get to the root of it all, to the bottom of it. You need to understand and determine what is causing those issues. And that's where data governance is helping, because it's trying to bring in that business analysis, that data analysis in place, get all those stakeholders together, find out really what the root cause is, and try and fix it as much as possible. And if not, implement some sort of controls in place to make sure that whatever those systems, those processes that are being fed by this data are not being impacted, or it minimizes that impact as much as possible. So it's not really just the reporting that should be part of the data governance program, but I think part of the fixing, it can be, if it's to be done in a more sustainable fashion. It sometimes, though, depending on the model, again, can be part of that data stewardship program where you're passing on the responsibility to the data stewards for them to cleanse their own data, the data that they are responsible for. So sorry, I think this was a lengthy answer, but definitely we can touch more on this subject. All right, so Joseph, yeah, we'll do. Well, I think I'm actually part of this association. So, but it's been a couple of months, to be honest, since I have looked at the website and some of the webinars that you guys offer. All right, and Piotr is saying that he uses Excel mostly, and it does what it needs to do, and you do what you need to do with it. And I think same goes for, sorry, for a lot of us. I'm joking here.
Pradeep has also a comment just above Piotr.
The chandu.org. Oh, right. So I think this is in response to Mark's comment that it does break around 1 million records. And glad to see that there is a workaround. And I wonder what it is, if it's splitting them into different tabs or what that might be. Mm-hmm. But we'll look into that. Thanks for the link. Wow, you're really on top with all of these. Not surprising.
Can we go back to the visualization? I'm really passionate about that.
Yes, we will go back. I just wanted to mention that Vivian obviously does agree that you do need to tackle the root cause of the issue. And yes, let's go back to the visualization.
Yeah, so the point was that Excel doesn't offer great charts. And the question was, what do you use for visualization?
What do I use for visualization?
Yeah,
or in
general.
And
everyone.
What do you guys use for data visualization? I think the most powerful or popular tools out there are the Power BI, which comes from Microsoft. And in a way, I feel that it has a bit of a leg on top of everybody else, because it also has that interaction with Excel and integration with Excel. So people could use Excel and then just jump into Power BI, or the other way around, to see the data behind the visualization in Excel as an option. And I think that's one of the top tools. And the close second, let's say, would be Tableau. It is, yeah. I think they both are. And then, of course, there are others as well. So we're already seeing some of the comments come in, and so far it's 50-50. It's Tableau, it is Power BI, Pradeep's team, and mine as well, using Tableau. But yes, a lot are making that move towards Power BI, also because of licensing reasons, and there's a lot of other yes, sorry, I'm trying to also read and talk at the same time, and obviously I'm not good at doing that. And yes, you do use Tableau for visualization. I wonder how many are using both. They have free versions, but then they have different models on how you can go a little bit deeper. And Piotr actually uses Excel for visualization, which, you know what, a lot of people do. I wonder if you're using those 3D pie charts or not. Is that your preference?
And Tableau as well.
And Tableau, yes. I think a lot of people seem to chime in for Tableau, at least this audience.
Which of these is harder to learn?
Out of the Power BI and Tableau? I think we need Kate here to chime in, because right now she's actually working on an online course that she's going to provide. I think soon, in just maybe a week or so, on how to get from data to dashboard with Power BI. That's one course, and the same but with Tableau. So it would be good to, I think, maybe even take those two courses side by side and see which ones, as a newbie, as a beginner, you would have an easier time to get to understand it and know it better. Right.
So
Sorry,
so if I had no idea and I haven't used either of them, what should I start with? Or is it a subjective preference? And
I think it could be for some part. I do want to mention that yes, ClickSense is also maybe the third one that usually comes on the list on these data visualizations. This LinkedIn user, why isn't your name showing up? Anyhow, they're recommending this framework, and I'll look into it. I do think I do have a certification in the ISO 8000, but it's been years now. And again, yes, I do see Excel, Power BI, as well, and Tableau and Click as really the top data visualization tools out there, for sure. So back to your question, Diana. Yeah, maybe I'm biased because I already know Tableau. Already was the first one that I learned before looking to Power BI. In Power BI, I only know it more of a not an expert level for sure. So I've only used their free tool to kind of poke around and see the differences. So there's some nuances, some differences between them. So that's why I think I am a little bit biased, because knowing one is sort of influencing the fact that, hey, you're not doing it the same way into the other. But Tableau did seem very intuitive, very easy to use. I've also did find that if you're not using it for a while, you're forgetting how to do different things. So even though it is intuitive, there's certain intricacies if you want to go at a deeper level on how to do certain things, more complicated, merging different sets of data into the one graph, or having graphs overlay, that might be a little bit difficult.
Right.
And Mohammed was mentioning that he finds Tableau to be a bit more difficult to learn as compared to Power BI. And I wonder, Mohammed, if you also find the end user experience to be the same, so the way that they are interacting with the visualizations, would you find that maybe it is easier for one tool versus the other, or not? Right. So unfortunately, we are really reaching our closing time here. I do need to start my work. So hopefully, I hope you got some good learnings out of it. Give it some more thought if you think technology should influence the data or the other way around, as we've also seen in the genes example here on how genes had to be renamed because of Excel and the changes that they were making to the data there. So you know what, in these comments I keep hearing great things about Power BI, so I think I need to give it more attention than before, for sure, and I think you should too. So I'm just gonna close with Vivian's comment here, because she's very right that a data quality tool does not improve data quality. It just reports on data quality issues in the scorecard, yes, and it is very time consuming without much return on investment, and in my opinion as well. And you are right, Vivian, that engaging subject matter experts to come up with data validation rules could invest to come up the proper data architecture before that implementation. So, all right.
Last comment from Pradeep.
All right, from
Kingsley Eithmere.
Right. Do you want to go over the comment?
I
would say yes, especially if you're building customized applications or tool sets. Leveraging code libraries can build capabilities that you can do with integration with those applications. So you know what, the conversation debate can keep on going, but sorry, I do have to sign off. And until next week, we will definitely maybe address data stewardship with Michael, because I do think that data stewardship is key. We do have a lot of other topics in our pockets, but please send your recommendations on what you think we should tackle. Just send me a personal message or put in a comment here, and we'll make sure that we will address them. Also, we would like to start having some guest speakers, so we again have a lineup of those already, but do let us know if you'd like to be on this show, or if you do have any recommendations of people that we should include and have a conversation with.
That's great.
All right. Well,
thank you, everyone.
Good data morning to you, and until next week, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.